And
Hi
welcome back,
everyone.
everyone.
Whoa,
Sorry, go on.
wow.
I'll let you do it.
Yo,
Catch up.
dude, that's the first time this has ever happened. We totally, during the break, didn't talk about who was going to open this. So, the players are loading in. We're actually going to be jumping into Exile pretty much immediately with Maxter and Sib. I was trying to give you a break, mate. You were just there for the long haul on the last one, or so I heard.
No, that was perfectly my fault. Normally, you are the one who does it instead of me. I think it's the adrenaline from that last series. I was just ready to bang out another series, another to crack on straight away and get things underway. But yeah, Sib versus Maxter. Can't wait for this one.
Correct. Maxter's going into this with the advantage, I think, just pure results alone. Sib, there's always this likelihood that if Sib steps up, he'll be able to really give Maxter a run for his money here. But Maxter's a player that people have spent all stage long keeping a close eye on. And really, there's not much else to add to that. We know the storylines. We know the players. We're loading into Exile right now. This is the B stream, right? We keep this kind of chit-chat small because we're going to jump into this first map and get through these very important games. And remember, this is lower bracket action. This is where if you lose, that's it. Your journey in the World Championship comes to a pretty swift close. And now, Lethal, our warm-up, is finishing.
It certainly is indeed, my friends. Can't wait to get into this. Just let everyone know at home, Exile to start off with, then will be on Corrupt to keep. And if things go to map number 3, it will be on Bale. We'll see what's going to happen now, starting off from Sib's POV. Already having to back away just a tad, but good rocket there, using that orb to come straight through, which is not something we expected here, considering the stack advantage Sib had, but he's trying to go for the trade now. Already this is becoming a slugfest. It's only been 25 seconds here, Ryan.
I mean, if Maxter was able to get that one extra shot that didn't quite hit its mark, he actually would have scored the first frag, almost using Sib landing that initial burst of damage against him. And decided to push on with that super shotgun and orb, and that was kind of really all he needed. However, the 1-0 lead will be a small one, but significant for Sib. Currently sitting on that high ground, and we know that on Exile, high ground just means you get to avoid so much danger sometimes. Maxter with lots of armor, and he's just about to get an orb in return. Oh, there's the rail! And off you go, Sync. Sitting there, even if he's not watching the stream, he's like, oh, why do I just feel a tingle all of a sudden?
Is that a fair amount of those tingles over the last few months, especially on this map? Sib, tie things up here. This is, again, becoming a very close affair. Sib coming out on top in that last engagement. After a minute and a half, it is 2-2, but he knows the weaknesses that Maxter has in terms of sometimes overextending, thinking that he can take on some of these bouts with a slightly lower stack and just waiting for him to be super aggressive. And you can see here, he's waiting for that next light, but it's not coming up for a while. He's going to try and go for the heavy, which he does manage to do, but look at the amount of damage he took in the process, though.
Maxter understands that with that high ground advantage right there and all the weapons that he had available, if he can happily let Sib take the item, he's more than likely to get more damage in the process. And although he did, Sib returned in kind. No worries at all now as it's 3-2. We've only just started Exile. 5 frags have already been swinging back and forth. And I like this from Sib. He's being extremely proactive. He's on the hunt. There's confidence in this play. However, Maxter pushing forward doesn't get the orb teleport that he wants, though. Doesn't get up there. Doesn't get the damage. And that is a critical misplay. Sib in position for heavy. Well, mega being the right term. Don't know why I called it heavy. But it doesn't matter, because Maxter in position to delay this mega all the same. I actually kind of like that he waited to take the mega just to offset Sib's timing, because he was probably looking to see what time that got picked up.
Yeah, so now it means he has to make a rough estimate as to when it appears, but Maxter's looking very healthy in terms of stack. And I think Maxter just overall in this series is going to be very pleased with the map choices, because he's good on both Exile, which is his favourite map, and Corrupt to keep. So this will be a good start for him. It could smell a clean sweep, whipping out the brooms. But it all depends though, because Sib is also playing a lot better than we anticipated. And Maxter now was going back around, but it looks like Sib just managed to get away back to a very healthy stack. Sib has dropped down, but keeping his distance here. And I like this from Sib so far. Just standing his ground, but at the same time making sure that Max doesn't get too close to... Oh, actually saying that though, he did go for that rocket jump to gain a bit of speed to throw Sib's timing off. And it looks like it almost worked, but just got caught on that wall slightly. But doesn't matter though, as maxter just keeping him at bay with the LG. He's actually using the orb to get a little bit closer, almost takes him down. He's going to be going straight towards him, but he picks up the Mega, hits the rail, and he's decided to drop down, get the bubble, and now pick up the heavy.
That was a situation where Sib, I almost have no idea how he survived the count. Rocket launcher almost going off under his feet, but Sib keeping his stack up and running just enough to survive, and now building it back piece by piece. A good read from maxter though, knowing that Sib only has a few options for getting the stack back. I mean, he'd already taken so much on the map that armor, almost kind of the forbidden fruit, if you will. Now, this is one of the first times maxter, he's on this item, and he's really the first one there. He's been playing around Sib for the 4 minutes and 20 seconds that has been going down so far. Sib's been the one that's there first. I see a rail down there, I get nervous. And maxter has had to have a lot of confidence in his pushes. Thankfully, he's got the right champion for the job. But he doesn't want to give up too much stack if he can help it. Oh, that's a point blank. Eesh, say goodnight.
Yeah, and even then, Max has got this perfect item segregation. Look at this, going straight for the Mega, then straight for the Heavy straight after. This is perfect because as soon as he picks up the Mega, he's going to have height advantage, going for the Heavy every single time. And if he continues this, it means that it's just going to spiral out of control. And Civ realizes this. He needs to break this setup. And if he doesn't, don't get me wrong, if it was Heavy then Mega, then at least he's got some kind of height control. But he doesn't. This is the perfect scenario for maxter, as he's just managed to hit that rail, and he hits another for good measure here. We're just at the halfway stage, and already Max is up 7-3, picks up the Mega, and will be picking up the Heavy very shortly, just making the same rotation each and every time. And do you know what? Why not?
Almost seemed like having the totem down there near teleporter exit was a detriment to Sib. Being able to get hit by that rail and backing off, trying to heal himself, maxter was more than prepared to line up that shot, and there was no way he was going to miss. But what does that mean, Lethal? That means that now maxter working on a gigantic stack compared to Sib, and with Mega just about to spawn, the delay between the two items, as you mentioned already, that rail... nothing's working out for Sib so far. The click of the rocket, so at the very least in this fight, wouldn't have had some opening shots, but he goes in with the rail all the same, and he super shotguns him out of the air. And just for a bonus little reward, Sib drops the rocket launcher, so maxter doesn't have to go out of his way to get ammo back. He pushes in for another time. Sib gonna drop again. And dying, right? Is this a Pamazak out? Oh, he almost got sent into the abyss.
This is ridiculous. Max has just all of a sudden decided halfway through this map, but I'm just going to just hit everything and do what I like. And he's just getting away with it, hitting these fantastic rails. And Sib could be tilting a little bit after that one. Oh, he's going to hit another one. Surely he's not going to go for another. He's going to come in with the shotgun just for insurance, just in case. He's now rocket burst straight into the spawn of Sib. Has to get away. 11-3 though. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie to you though. Sib played really well at the very beginning, but now things have just got out of hand here for Sib.
The longer this map's going on and the further the divide between the frags are going, the problem is that Sib is becoming a little bit more predictable with his movement. Maxter is getting tons of those rails. He's just setting up an angle and he knows that Sib is going to show his face. Those defensive rockets, another key factor where Sib, he's getting hit every time by almost max damage. And it almost seems like maybe there is frustration settling in. Sib has not historically been the kind of player that is able to kind of keep a complete mid-match cool. I think this is another one, just completely conceding there. I don't know what happened, but maxter is now going to just daisy chain all of these frags together. And that really is it. That's going to be the first map. There's nothing Sib's going to be able to do to stop this. The item control for maxter has been near flawless. And from that point on, we have to think about the second map.
Couldn't agree more. Oh my god, just making it even worse. And yeah, Sib knew straight away. But you go for the LG, yeah, that's dumb. Yeah,
this is kind of what I mean. He's been hastily spawning and just running straight into this or that, going for the closest item or whatever it is, and it's making it very easy for maxter to hit those predictive rockets, right? He'll score a frag near heavy, set up a rocket near the LG. He knows that Sib's going to run up to it because he's going to spawn and try and grab an LG straight away. So for the next 2 minutes, not much to talk about. It's going to be the frag movie, and we talk about the next map.
Yeah, again, couldn't agree more.
Good time to bring up the picks and the bans, actually. I'm going to consult my other monitor and we'll have a quick look and see what the picks are. The beauty of doing this from home, folks. The beauty of doing this from home.
That is very true. I think we have the Death Knight versus the Anarchy going into Corrupted Keep. So no BJ, which is something you don't see every day. And then we do have the Scalebearer versus the Sorlag on the final map if it goes to map number 3, which will be on Vale. So a lot of smaller maps, but I do think all these maps favour Maxter because I feel like he can do a huge amount with what he can work with. He more relies on his initiative and his game sense rather than the strategic value which maybe some of the players have. But he's just playing to his strengths really. So all 3 of his maps he'll be very pleased about. He's taken out Rafa once upon a time on Vale. You've got obviously Exile and Corrupted Keep, which are 2 of his go-to maps. I say go-to for a Corrupted Keep, but even though he doesn't play Corrupted Keep that much or barely at all, every time I've seen him play it, I've just think, wow, like, why don't you choose CK more often? And not too sure really, but some people may be very good at a map, but just don't particularly enjoy it. But it's something you don't see every day. And Maxter's, consider it's a 17-2 performance. He's going to be extremely pleased going into this second map. And clean sweep could be on the horizon depending on how Sib challenges his positivity going into the second map.
I think that is a rather crucial term, though. I think I don't even need to mention it. It's kind of obvious that Sib was a bit tilted in that match. You could see it in the gameplay. However, there are a few things to bring forward with what that means and what that could mean. So Sib has kind of demonstrated he isn't exactly the calmest player during some of these matches, where if there are players that are a bit more on the new side here, especially to Pro League in its kind of current state, that is going to be something to be expected, right? Players have to go through the motions. They have to go through the weeklies, the finals, and they kind of mature both in mentality, attitude, whatever it is. But right now, the fact that we are in tournament, this is lower bracket, losers bracket, this is elimination territory. Visible frustration mid-map in the first map, all the while, if you're frustrated by anything, here's Maxter, who is so comfortable. He's hitting all those frag movie moments now. He's hitting the rocket to rail combos, rail back to back. Whatever it is, it was working perfectly. So now he's feeling good. He's nice and nimble. He's ready to jump into this next map without any issues. By pure mentality alone, Maxter is now going into the next map with the complete and utter advantage. And I do hope that Sib can keep his head in the game because this is the last chance.
Certainly is for both these players. We've got to talk about, we have to talk about the stats from that last map. He had 3,057 more damage, so which is almost, actually no, it's way over double than we expected. 28 items controlled, and the other one from the top of my head, I think it was 57% rail accuracy. But this is Maxter, this is Exile. Both of them are like, the perfect duo, aren't they? Every time we've seen them play on Exile. And going into the next map, I really don't know what Sib can do. Like you said, there's visible frustration on and off the server. Off the server, like physically, you don't really see it, but in game, you see it clear as day. We've seen it on a number of occasions. But also to talk about Maxter, just overall, I always feel like there's 2 players which always he has a bit of a pickle with. He has Nosfer, which always seems to have his number. And even though like Maxter can take out some of the opponents where Nosfer can't, Nosfer can always take Maxter out every single time. He's out of competition now. And Rafa, of course, he's in the losers bracket after losing against Avik. So it depends how they progress and meet in the bracket. But Maxter now, one of his 2 nemesis opponents is already out of competition. So it'll give him a lot more leeway progressing into the losers bracket today.
Part of the tournament experience, sometimes the players that give you the hardest time get eliminated, whether you play them or not, and then you just adapt accordingly. That can be great for some players, that can be bad for others. We've seen players in tournament where it just feels like the only players that are left are the ones that they struggle against. It can go the opposite direction. Both these players are readying up though, and now we are loading into Corrupted Keep, reminding everybody this is losers bracket. This is where if you lose now, you're out of the World Championship. So crazy to think that we're already, I think, over halfway through of this entire tournament because we have a few games left to go today. We've got some more B-stream action as well. So keep both of those links open. You better do it. But then tomorrow, finals day, where it'll be best of 5 all the way. Plenty of maps and plenty of players looking to take that number 1 spot, right? And in this lower bracket, when there is the added stress of there's no more wiggle room, there's no more safety net, creates a lot more stress for these players involved. So how they can rise above it, we'll soon find out. Our warm-up's coming to a close between maxter and Sib. Maxter taking a more than comfortable map 1. Can he secure the 2-0?
This shouldn't really be the B stream. It should be called the elimination stream, pretty much, because it's pretty much been the case here today, and we've already seen a few upsets. And exactly. And now Sib got the perfect position here, but the LG will follow suit, and he has the inject out as well. So this is definitely the start and the confidence boost that Sib needed. It just depends on what shenanigans Maxter brings to the table here throughout this matchup. And I've said it before that he's very keen on Corrupt to keep. May not select it often in the Pro League, but I know he's damn well good at it. And Sib's still standing his ground. Very patient, a lot of discipline here, using that heavy machine gun to its full potential just to make sure that he can secure this mega comfortably and picking up that light in the red room. And already Max has found what he was looking for. Probably a little bit too early than he would like, and he's taken a fair amount of damage from the LG, which means he has to continue on the low ground while Sib eats up all the lights. And now he has more than enough stack to contest this heavy, and rightly so. Maxter has backed away.
Sib is going to have a little bit of an ace in the hole during these fights. The ability to pop injection mid-fight and then shredding down the LG like that. Before I could even describe the matchup, it kind of happened before our very eyes. If you can pop the injection mid-fight and just nullify the flames, it does take the damage factor of Death Knight and changes it somewhat. Good thing for Sib that he was able to get some impressive LG at the same time. Now currently sitting on 2-0. His LG has been gross. 3-0 already here, Lethal. Okay, Sib, we're back in the fight.
This is strange as well, because last map was on Sib's server, and now it's on Maxter's server, and Sib's the one who's laying down the law, which is something you don't normally see every day. Sib now just standing his ground, just playing the sound game. Using the inject preemptively just in case, but also to collect those hourglasses too. Now he's just dropping down to see on the whereabouts of where Maxter could be. He's found him on the heavy. He's gone straight for the telly. The flame strike comes out, which is great stuff from Maxter. Even though Sib's picked up the heavy, he's already done a huge amount of damage just to channel what he wants to do, but his plan of action was to keep him distracted so he can go pick up the heavy, the mega, which he has done. Instead of using that inject once again, he wants to force out this fight, but he can't as of yet. It's both players on a very similar stack.
As we're looking at the next set of items though, heavy, the #1 objective, of which Sib comfortable and close for it. But we look at the time that's remaining. Maxter has so much time to get something back out here. Sib's had a great start, don't get me wrong. And if he can keep his LG up the way it has been, I mean, currently sitting on 56%, but with it being, without question, his star weapon. He's only done a little bit of damage with certain weapons right now, right? And the LG has done all the heavy lifting. 824 so far.
Yeah, 56% LG, you can't complain. That was better than Wenger's actually, but let's see how accurate it's going to be by the end of this match. 3 minutes in. If you're just joining us, Maxter is currently up with a 1-0 lead in this series with a flawless performance in the NA server. We are switching to the SA server now, where Sib's the one with the lead. And yes, I did say that correctly. It's now Sib being very patient, but Maxter with none just going straight in. They've done quite a lot considering, and is he after blood? He just misses out on the health bubble. That's going to be it. Yep, he's pretty much done for. But at the same time, though, Ketchup, you saw there, Maxter was directly underneath the 2 health bubbles in the red room if he did approach him straight afterwards. So, yeah, didn't really matter too much. But 4 minutes in, Maxter finally gets his first frag.
But it could be the start of many. Because this is one of those instances where Sib is no longer the one that's kind of in control of the situation. Now he does preemptively go forward. This was a big decision to make, using the injection to try and get out there with an LG in hand, but in doing so, armor gone. And as he pushes in with even more LG action, without this injection now, man's on fire! He has to back out, but with that shows the damage numbers, and Maxter pretty much gets access to a radar. I mean, those numbers appear, you can see where the opponent is, and Maxter knew that was a free pick up. Sib sitting there thinking, man, maybe I shouldn't have used the injection right there. Using it to get an LG, the best use of it so far has been when those fights break out, Sib has a trump card against Flamestrike. It's what's kept him alive. And without it, the fight is nowhere near the same.
Oh, okay. So maxter's tied things up, took a look at a bit of time, but he's got there in the end. Yeah, and you're right though, earlier on, Maxter knew that Sib, closest health bubble, was going to be at the heavy machine gun. Of course, the ticks of damage is just going to give him confirmation of that. Maxter backing away from the red room, just continuously keeping an eye on his hourglasses to stop him from not only getting the inject a little bit earlier, but of course stacking that HP at a later date. Picks up the heavy though, as Sib was trying to go in and out and just try and weasel his way towards the heavy. Didn't work this time round. Oh, good rocket. Oh, the back-to-back directs. He saw there catch up. Couldn't ask for more. Another direct. 3 for 3 pretty much. Is now, again, he's after blood. Finds him in the red room. And there we have it. Maxter goes from gaining the lead to extending it just a tad.
It is starting to slip through Sib's fingers right now as Maxter takes control of the map. He takes the frag lead. We are starting to open up those situations that were very similar to Exile. Sib spawns and kind of just rushes straight forward, and I think Maxter is getting the perfect call out on those. Those max damage rockets, they're no accidents, not a coincidence, and it's not luck. They are predetermined. He knows where to place them. But this is a scary position now because Sib, his use of nullifying Flamestrike was pivotal in the early game. But now he's going to have to use it, but in using it means he can't fire for a split second. It's a good thing Sib didn't take the jump there because Maxter is looking to secure another frag, and that would have been free.
Sib needs to get out of here. He can't waste any more time, and he has done. He picks up the heavy. Oh, that was very close. I was hanging on to my chair for dear life there, Ketchup. I was just sitting there. Seeing if he's able to hit that direct rocket or not. He's hit enough directs. You know, it's getting a bit greedy if he tries to go for it anymore, but just eating up some of his hourglasses once again. That's that flame strike if he wants to use it whenever he sees fit. Picks up the mega, picks up the light, and now Sib hasn't really got a huge amount to work with as the heavies come up in the next few seconds. Sib's giving him a pay though, considering he's using that flame strike now because he knows he's going to get guaranteed damage. Good shotgun shot is going to fire another one. But he saw Sib picked up the health bubble from the tri-bolt, and now Maxter's one who needs to try and survive for the next 10 seconds to contest this mega.
But as we can clearly see, Sib was in a situation that is completely irrelevant now, actually, because Maxter was able to get the frag. Another one. As we go into 2.5 minutes left, Sib had a phenomenal start, but I think that was the only time things went well.
Oh
now
God.
It's going to be the revenge. LG upon LG. Now it's Maxter that's going to shred, and Sib's chances are becoming slim at best. Look at the armor. No, he's coming right around the corner, and Maxter is ready.
Oh dear me, he knew it was being predictable, but he was relying on the speed to get away from that. But Maxter was prepared days early before he came around that corner towards the rockets. Look at the stack from Maxter. 2 minutes left. I don't know what Sib can do. The only thing Sib can do now, just wait and see what's going to happen. Yeah, okay, that was pretty clean there from Maxter. The only thing Sib can do now, try and get some kind of weapons in his arsenal, especially the heavy machine gun. Get some range in and trying to fix as much as he can onto Maxter before backing away, but this is very difficult. This is on the SA server. He's got a 6 frag deficit to catch up on the next 90 seconds. I think this is getting a little bit too much now. Great, don't get me wrong, Sib at least comes up on top in that last bout, but 90 seconds to find 5 frags. It's a tall order.
Maxter's predictive rockets have been so surgical that you'd almost think that Sib was running a cycle, you know, almost like an AI path, you know? Let's say it's one of those single player modes and you've just mastered it and practiced it. This AI spawns there, they run here, I place it here, it's guaranteed, but this is PvP, man. This isn't where that kind of thing normally happens. And it is shades of Exile appearing again on Keep. But now, yeah, look, Sib, he's fighting hard. And one could say that there is a small chance here, because this is Corrupted Keep. It's a tiny, tiny map. But I just fear that that split second where those frags just daisy chain, because maybe there was an element of frustration setting in. I'm really worried that there's not enough time to get just exactly how much work Sib has left to do. 3 frags. Can he do it? All right, he gets another frag. Wait a minute. Maybe. Well on track to pull off a comeback here.
He certainly can, but he can't let Maxter gain any weapons. If he does, then he's pretty much done for here because Maxter's so good in terms of combat skills. But looking at that, though, he's actually on the jump pad, but Maxter's the one who takes him down with the super shoddy of all weapons. But, you know, there's a common trait here on Corrupted Keep. 3 frags behind, that's going to be it. Good attempt, though, from Sib, considering what he had to deal with, and just shows that, yeah, if he was a little bit unpredictable on spawn on some of those frags, he could have kept it a little bit closer and given him a little bit more leeway. But that was a real shame. A good effort from Sib this time round on the second map. He has been knocked out of the competition, though. Maxter with that 2-0 victory.
He had to win that fight near Tribal. It was the only thing that was going to keep him back in that fight. But to give Maxter his credit, he chose one of the most unusual places that you can take a fight. Because, yeah, he's taking damage, he's escaping, but at the same time, having the boldness to pretty much bring himself back up, and rather than just running away completely, he decided to take the fight to him. We're going to be in a place where my super shotgun can almost only do max damage. And seemed like something maybe Sib wasn't fully prepared for. You're feeling all that momentum. You're pushing, you're pushing, you're pushing. You're trying to keep yourself, and then all of a sudden, wasn't part of the plan. Here he comes straight back up the jump pad with the super shotgun, and now what do I do? That was well played. Well played there by Maxter, and he was able to keep himself nice and focused all the way through. Sib, commendable effort, I think, in those 2 maps. The first one definitely escaped him early. Keep, he almost pulled off this incredible comeback. I just think there were too many frags that were simply given away to Maxter during that midpoint, where Maxter just had to continue to play well. And he's one of the most improved players of the season. Of course he's going to play well.
Yeah, I haven't really got too much to say, really. In terms of dissecting that, I think you spoke and said everything. You know, I'm just going to echo what you mentioned, where, you know, a couple of sloppy plays on spawn can, you know, cost him his victory. And he's going to realise that now. He's going to think to himself, well, if I didn't, you know, do the common trait of going for the rockets on spawn and doing other few bits and pieces in terms of contesting the items, it could have gone a completely different manner, a completely different way. And sometimes it can happen to someone. It did frustrate him a lot. I like how Sib came into that second map and reset his mentality and his mental state going into it, because you can easily just let things go peak-tong and just go, right, do you know what, this series is pretty much over already. The way he just completely dissected him in that first map on his server, mind you, and still came up with a very good start, a dream start on Corrupted Keep, but sadly just couldn't hold it long enough. We know what Corrupted Keep can be like. Eventually you do get traded at some stage, but good attempt from Sib, but sadly commiserations to him, and we'll see Maxter again very soon.
Well, we're going to go for a quick break here on the B stream. There's more Quake on this stream, so make sure you keep it loaded up. There's mainstream activity going on as we speak. But on that note, we're going to go away for a few minutes. So stay tuned. QuakeCon continues, and so does the World Championships.